Now that all our building blocks are in place, we're finally ready to begin building the dashboards that users will access in order to manage the accounts they have connected to Sprinklr. Again, these are templated for ease of creation. I'll open a new page and go to Engagement Dashboards. Click this drop down to access the tab that says Templates. You can also start typing in the Search Dashboards box in order to surface this. We'll start with Inbound. I'm going to clone this and create a new inbound dashboard for each account subgroup. Clone, change the name, inbound, I'll take off the templates tag and I'll add a tag for this unit. In this case, I'll hit create since it's brand new and hit clone. I'll repeat this process for the other departments and programs, starting with this blank template before I make any changes. Now I'll go and repeat this process for dashboards 2 and 3. Now that all my dashboards have been cloned, if I scroll to the COL tag, you'll see all of the dashboards, inbound, resolution, and outbound. Sprinklr tends to order these by which dashboard was most recently accessed or edited, so they unfortunately won't always appear in order that makes sense. That is why we add the 1, 2, and 3 and the unit name to each dashboard so we can signify what the dashboard is clearly. Now it's time to edit each of these dashboards. I'll start with inbound column 1, and you'll see here our template has the necessary columns that are most likely necessary for each type of account, but some of these are not going to be relevant to this particular department. So I'm going to refer to my spreadsheet where I have noted what accounts the unit intends to add for this unit, and I'll delete columns that are unnecessary. Since this unit only has one seat, they're not going to use a workflow where messages get assigned to users. So I can delete this assigned to me column. They do have Facebook, so I'm going to leave the reviews and recommendations column and the Facebook columns. They also have Twitter or X and Instagram, but that is all they have, so I can delete every column after that. I'll leave this profanity for review column, however. Now that I have the columns I need, I have to adjust the settings for the columns. For reviews and recommendations, I'll click Edit. I'm going to choose the universal inbox for this unit, and then I'll choose the account group related to this dashboard. In this case, it's Department 1. I'll hit Update. On Facebook brand engagement, I'll do the same thing. I'll change the inbox to the inbox for this unit. For the account group, I'll filter to the specific department. Same with private messages. For Facebook external mentions, these tie directly to a page, not to a group. So the unit will have to change this setting themselves after they've connected a page. I'll want to note that in the spreadsheet. So I'll come over here to this other actions, and in this last column, I'll note adjust external mention columns on inbound dashboards to connect to page. On Twitter, I'll edit, again, choose the inbox and the appropriate account group. Same for direct messages. The Twitter feed is similar to the Facebook columns in that this is connected to a specific account, so I can't update this until they've added the account in. So I'll go back to this spreadsheet and I'll note this for them. Instagram brand engagement does work off of a group, so I can make that adjustment. Public engagement does as well. As does direct messages. And finally, the profanity for review column, I'll switch to the profanity for review queue for this unit. The last step I need to do is share this dashboard to the user groups. So I'll go up to these three dots to open the share menu, and I'll choose the department user group here and hit share. Now this dashboard is complete. I'll repeat the same steps for the other inbound dashboards, deleting columns that aren't needed based on what counts will be added, sharing as appropriate to the department or unit subgroup specific user group, and making any notations in this spreadsheet about changes that need to be made for Facebook or Twitter columns, typically just copying and pasting from another cell. One thing to note is that as of September of 2023, Sprinklr can be used to manage TikTok business account reporting, but not inbound or outbound messages. So you don't need an inbound column at this point. That could change, and if so, we would add a column to the template, and then we'd have to go back and add that column, even just cloning that column to the other dashboards that are already in existence, or instructing our users on how to add their own TikTok column. That is a future case when the API opens up to that functionality. Now I'll go in and edit my resolution dashboard, or dashboard number 2, for these units. We'll start with resolution department 1. These are all going to operate based off of queues, so you'll be able to make all the changes for the unit. For each column, you'll just change the queue to the respective corresponding. So in this case, no response required, and then filter it to the appropriate department account group and hit update. I'll repeat that for all 4 columns. Once all 4 columns have been updated, I'll again share to the user group for this department and hit share. And I'll repeat this for the other resolution dashboards. And finally, for my outbound dashboards, number 3, I'll start with outbound department 1. First, I'll delete any columns I don't need. Since this unit only has one seat, they don't use an approval workflow, so I can delete the approval needed and approval sent columns. If they had multiple seats and had a workflow wherein an intern or one seat, perhaps belonging to a junior level staffer, could submit content for approval, that's what those columns would be used for, but we don't need them here. I can also delete the other columns that are not needed based on the platforms they use. So Department 1 does not need LinkedIn or Flickr, YouTube, Pinterest, and no one needs Google Plus, since that's a defunct platform, so only pre-existing users would use that column. Now I'll go in and edit settings for the remaining columns. The first 4 are going to filter off account groups. Failed to post, I'm going to scroll down to account group, take off demo, and add the account group for this subunit. I'll do the same thing with drafts. Scheduled. And sent. The rest are platform specific, and they're filtered based on message type and account group. So again, all you need to do with each of these columns is to take off the demo account group and add the appropriate account group here. And repeat for each column. I'm sure you've noticed that all of these columns are empty. That's because the rules and queues we created are going to funnel messages in to all of these dashboards and columns based on the account groups they're added to. But that can't happen until the accounts are added into the system and the accounts are mapped to the appropriate account and user groups. Once the unit connects their accounts to the system, everything will filter in automatically with just the few tweaks for the Facebook and Twitter columns on the inbound dashboard. So it will appear empty until they do that. Once they've added accounts, some number of messages will come in back data. There's no set rule on how many that appears. It seems to be about 30 days worth will show up in outbound. Inbound won't start until that inbound rule has been activated and accounts are connected. So you may need to have the unit send themselves a couple test direct messages to their page in order to make sure that everything is funneling through the rules into the queues and into the dashboards correctly.